DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve, you can't find it. It's hiding somewhere. And on top of all that, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. This is the go-getter energy that moves you to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. We put all this together. What you get is the mindset, the method, the podcast, the book, the philosophy called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day. Welcome to the show. Today's topic is how to promote a new product or a new service that you have created. You have something that you're putting out there for sale, for public consumption, and you want to know how to get people to know about it, how to get people to pay attention to it, and hopefully eventually consume it, actually buy it, actually use it, download it, listen to it, watch it, whatever it happens to be. Whether that be an online course, a book, a take-home course, a membership service, an event, etc. There's so much stuff out there. I mean, so many people are putting stuff out. So many people are selling things. How do you even make yourself stand out? How do you break through the noise of everybody putting things out, whether it's free stuff or paid stuff? Everybody being somebody who wants to put something out. Even the people who ain't putting nothing out are just planning on when they can start putting stuff out. How do you break through that noise and actually get anyone to, first of all, pay you attention? Second of all, maybe possibly pay you some money. How do you do that? I'm gonna tell you some strategies for doing that here today. So make sure you're taking notes on these. Point number one, today's topic again, is how to promote a new product or service. If you are already out there, and when I say out there, I mean you have an audience, you have a following, you have people who know who you are. Even if it's not a big following, you have a following of 200 people. All right? It doesn't have to be 2 million people. But if you have a following of people who know who you are at least familiar with your work, have some idea what you're doing or what your area of expertise is or what they could possibly expect from you. If you're already out there, the time to begin marketing your stuff, marketing your product or your service is, sometimes people ask me this, I got a book that I want to put out next year. When do I start marketing it? How long should I promote it or things like that? The time to start marketing a product or a service as it stands as of this recording, which is spring/summer 2019, is 3 years before you start selling it. Yes, you heard me correctly. The time to start marketing your product, your service, your free download, your podcast, whatever you plan on doing in the future, the time to begin marketing for that thing is 3 years before you plan on selling it to those people. So understand that the marketing for your product or your service does not necessarily mean that that product or service is ready or you even know what it's going to look like or feel like or sound like 3 years later. Listen, damn near nothing that I've ever put out for sale did I know 3 years beforehand that I was going to be selling it. Because if I knew 3 years beforehand, I would have put it out 2.5 years earlier, right? The book Work on Your Game didn't even it took me maybe 2 years, not even 2 years between the time that I signed the contract to do the book and the time the book actually came out. And that was a long time. The membership for the game group, that didn't take but 4 months for me to put the whole thing together from the time I got the idea to the time that I actually did it. So you don't know what the product or service is even going to be 3 years ahead of time. So how does it even make sense? Now that I just kind of debunked my own point there. I said, I don't even know 3 years ahead of time what it's 2019. I don't know what I'm going to be putting out for sale in 2022. So how are you going to start marketing your stuff 3 years before? It doesn't even make sense then, right? It does make sense. And here's why. Because the marketing does not necessarily mean a specific product or a service. The marketing is the relationship/conversation you're having with your audience, your potential customers, your prospects. That's what the marketing is. And I want you to understand that the audience that you have right now is not going to be the same audience that you have 3 years from now. That audience is going to change. There are a few people who are going to stay in it. There are some people who are going to leave and come back. There are some people who are not here now, but are going to be here maybe halfway through that 3 year period. And they're going to be a year and a half in, marinated, before you drop that product or that service or whatever it is you're putting out there. But you need to start laying the foundation and building the relationship with those customers, with those prospects, with that audience. Even if you're going to be doing something for free, you need to start building that relationship 3 years before you start asking them to give you anything back. Everybody follow me. Before you're asking anyone to give you anything back, You need to build a relationship and establish a foundation of you're a person who gives value before you ask for any value in exchange. Nobody wants to only hear from someone only when you have something to sell or something to promote or something you want other people to do for you. Even if, again, it doesn't cost them anything. Let's say you're in some online contest and people need to click on this link and go here to vote for you so you can win some competition. People don't want to do that for you if you haven't established yourself as someone who gives just as much as someone who takes. All right, it's not a 50-50 relationship. I'm going to say that one more time. It is not a 50-50 relationship between you and your audience. Is not 50-50. You're going to give 99 times out of 100, and maybe one out of those 100 you can ask for something in exchange. But other than that, just expect to give. Why? Because that's the economy right now. That's the economy that we have agreed upon. That's the way that it works. If you want an audience, you want people to know you, you want to be established, you got to give to that audience, give them something of value, something that's actually useful for them, something that they can get some value out of, and they'll keep coming back to you. And they want you to give again. Then you got to give again. And then you got to keep giving. You establish yourself as someone who gives in that relationship. Then every once in a while, you can ask for something in exchange. That's the economy that we're in right now. Now, that economy may change 3 years from now. That economy may change 10 years from now. The economy was different 10 years ago. But this is where we are right now as of the date that you are listening to this podcast. People do not only want to hear from you when you have something to sell or promote. Why? Because everybody has something to sell or promote. So if you come out trying to sell or promote something, nobody's going to hear you anyway because everybody else is doing the exact same thing. Everybody's trying to sell or promote. Ain't no buyers. There's a whole bunch of salespeople, no customers. So if you're only doing it when or because you have a product coming on the horizon, people can sniff that out. Okay, you got a book coming out in 3 months. Now all of a sudden you want to put out videos. Now all of a sudden you want to market yourself. Now you want to have a podcast. Now you're trying to quote unquote create value and create content. People can sniff that out. People ain't dumb. They know. Build a relationship with whomever you're eventually going to sell to by giving them extra value, over delivering them value in exchange for their attention, not in exchange for their money. In exchange for their attention, over deliver them value now so that when you have something to sell, you might not even know what it is yet. Then you can ask for it. All right. That's the agreement that is in place these days. That's the content economy. That's the branding, influencing, internet material economy that we're in today. All right. Have I said that often enough? And this may change in the future, like I said. So keep paying attention. And if you're new in the game, let's say you're new in the game, because I said if you're already established, this is what you should do 3 years before that product or service is ready. If you're new in the game right now, you have a product or service that you want to offer, what do? The second best time to get started is today. All right. The best time was 3 years ago. The next best time is right now. Start giving value. Just give immense value. Don't keep score. Don't keep track of how much value you've given in exchange for how many times you can ask for something. If you do that, then you're making it into a transaction. And I want to explain something to you all again. The world that we're in now, the information is free. It's all out there. Some of the strategies, not all the strategies, but some of the strategies are out there. A lot of information is out there. People are not dumb. All right, the consumers are a lot smarter now than they used to be. They used to be thinking about buying a car. It used to be you going to the dealership to buy a car, the car salespeople take you to the cleaners, right? Because they know that you don't have all the information. Nowadays, you got more information than they have. So if they try to BS you on the price of a car, you already got all the information. You already know what your other options are. If this dealership don't want to play ball the right way, then you just go to another dealership. You have all the information now. Now you got the power. All right, consumers have power these days. So do not think that the consumer doesn't know what you think they don't know. They know. Okay, so you need to give immense value, not keeping score, not saying, okay, when do I finally get to sell my stuff and get something in exchange for all this value that I'm putting out here? This is the economy that we're in now. Just keep giving. Don't worry about how long you got to give. Just keep doing it until they start giving back. You only had to ask for it. Point number 2. Today's topic is how to promote a new product or a new service. Be better than your price. If you're offering a product or a service for sale, whatever that product or service is, it needs to be better than whatever you're charging for it. In episode number 52, I told you that mediocrity does not sell anymore. And I've mentioned that in many other episodes that are not necessarily about that topic specifically. You can't be mediocre anymore these days because we don't remember mediocre. We have too many options for mediocre to settle for mediocre. We don't have to settle anymore. All right? It used to be You're from a certain neighborhood and there were no guys in the neighborhood who you like, nobody you were actually attracted to. You would eventually have to make yourself be attracted to one of them because all you had was what was in your neighborhood. You didn't have a plane or a car to go travel anywhere. You weren't moving anywhere. You were stuck with whatever was around you. Now, look, we got Instagram. We got all the social media. We got YouTube. We got podcasts. We got all these dating apps so you can find somebody across the country if you look hard enough. I mean, raw example, but you understand the point that I'm making here. It used to be we were limited in our options. So if there was only a mediocre option available to us, we were stuck with it. Nowadays, we're not limited to mediocre options. Any mediocre option gets drowned out in the marketplace because there will be something better out there because anyone can put themselves out in the marketplace. It used to be also there were gatekeepers to the marketplace. Not everybody could even make themselves available. Now anybody can make themselves available. So anything mediocre, we don't even notice it. It doesn't even last. All right, it doesn't even last a week in this environment. Why? Because better options are always popping up every single day. And if you're a great option right now, you might be mediocre in a month if you don't keep upgrading what you offer. You don't keep upgrading your software. We have too many options, both free and paid, to settle for mediocre shit these days. So if whatever you're offering is mediocre, if it doesn't blow you away, then it means it could probably be better. Whatever you offer needs to be worth more than what people are paying to get it. Yes, even the free stuff. Because the free stuff costs our time, costs us our attention, and often costs us our privacy. You give somebody your email address, your name, your phone number, your mailing address, you're giving up your privacy in exchange for whatever you gave that information for. You're giving people your time, your attention to read their blog, listen to their podcast, watch their video. All right, that's a cost. That's an opportunity cost. So whatever you're giving them in exchange for what they're giving you needs to be better and worth more than what they think they're giving up. Companies like Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they know everything you're doing, what you like, what you buy, what you listen to, what you look at, what you think about. And the people that you buy from, you go to their websites, they know all this stuff about you too, because you're giving them that information in exchange for their products and their services. That's your trade-off for quote unquote free. Your trade-off for free listening to podcasts. All right, they know everything about you. Everything that's in that phone, they know about you when you listen to that podcast. They know. All right, you were concerned about giving up your privacy, and you that ship sailed as soon as you started consuming content on the internet. As soon as you made a social media profile. In case you didn't know, now you know. All right, it's too late. All right, they already got it. Don't worry about going backwards. It's done. To my point, all you sellers out there, your stuff has to be better than whatever people are giving up in order to get it. Because if it's not, we're going to move on quickly to something that's better than yours. As simple as that, because we have so many options. And understand, there may be options out there that are not better than yours, but they're trying to entice your customers, your audience, into believing that they are, just to get a little bit of a chance to maybe lure them away from you. So you got a ton of competition out there that you don't even know exists. But again, if you have an audience and you're doing well, you're eating right now, they know about you. You might not know about them, but they know about you. They're trying to take your spot. So you better be better than your price, even if your price is free. Point number 3. Today's topic is how to promote a new product or service. Even if it's free, how to promote that new product or service. Point number 3, do not disappear as soon as the transaction is done. This leaves a bad aftertaste with people, and it makes it seem like you never cared in the first place. Now, there used to be a time, again, you could come out, sell your product or service. You were done with selling your product or service, go away and don't come back till you're ready to sell something else. It used to be a time when that was okay, but the problem is that doesn't work anymore because this thing called attention. We're in the attention economy right now. Number one thing you can get from people is attention. Number one buy-in you can get from an audience is them to pay attention. They can't pay money until they pay attention. And the reason why, and that it was always the case that people had to pay attention before they paid money. The difference now is there's so many people vying for our attention. Anybody can vie for attention these days. Whereas back in the day, there were only a few outlets to even ask for your attention. There were gatekeepers who controlled who got to ask for the consumer's attention. These days, all the gatekeepers are out of business. Anybody can ask for the people's attention. So you're competing against everybody for attention. And until you get the attention, it doesn't matter how great your product, service, or content is. You got to get the attention first. So if you come out, sell your product or your service, whether you do well or you do terribly selling your product or service, then you just disappear till it's time to sell again. By the time you come back to sell again, all those people whose attention you had the first time, they've given their attention to something else. They've given their attention to someone else. They don't have any more attention to spend with you. They're broke. They are attention broke. Their attention bankrupt. They can't buy from you because they don't even remember that you exist because you went away. This is why those of you who are going to be content creators, or you are content creators, listen, there is no end to you creating content. Therefore, you better choose a subject to which your knowledge is not in, to which your expertise is not in, to which your ideas do not end. Because if somebody comes across your content and they like it, you know what they're going to want to know? What else you got? You got another episode of this podcast. You got another video on YouTube. You got another post on IG. They're going to want to watch the next one. Then the one after that. Then the one after that. Then the one after that. They're going to continue to consume and continue to pay you with their attention as long as you keep giving them value. But if you run out of value, you run out of content, or for whatever reason you just stop giving the content, they're still going to spend that attention. They're just going to spend it somewhere else. All right, most people ain't savers. All right, most people don't have a big savings account when it comes to attention. We spending it as soon as we get it. That's a good analogy right there. We're spending our attention as soon as we get it these days. So you better have more to sell to get people's attention because they're ready to spend right now. And if you don't have something to give them right now in exchange for their attention, they ain't giving it up. They're not waiting, rather. They are giving it up to somebody else. They're not waiting for you. That's what I meant to say. Don't disappear as soon as the transaction is done. Makes it seem like you never cared in the first place, and you're going to lose all your audience anyway. Once burned, twice shy, they say. You may want to deal with that audience again, whoever that audience is, and people will either remember that you went away the first time, or they'll just forget about you they'll forget about you, period, and you won't be able to make another exchange anyway. If you're really about giving value, you're always giving value. I'm going to repeat that point. If you are really about giving value, you are always giving value, not just when there's something to gain for yourself. And anyway, you're not the only one selling a product, right? And you're not the only person, and you're not selling the only product you're ever going to sell in your whole life either. All right, so you got competition, number one, and number two, you're going to want to make this transaction happen again. So you better keep that audience's attention, because as soon as they leave you and go pay attention to somebody else, they might fall in love with that other person who they're paying attention to and not have a need for you anymore. Even though you're good, you didn't get worse. They just fell in love with somebody else because you let their attention slip. There will be more opportunities for you, but you got to keep those relationships strong by continuing to give, letting your audience tell you what they want from you next. If you're listening, they'll tell you. And they'll tell you as long as they know you're around, as long as they know that you're listening, as long as you stay selling them your value in exchange for their attention. But as soon as that attention slips and they give it to somebody else, you might not get them back. Let's recap today's topic, which is how to promote a new product or a new service. So that's a course, book, membership, event, free content, etc. There's so much stuff out there. Everybody's selling stuff. How do you stand out? When I say selling stuff, again, I don't necessarily mean for money. People are selling your attention, for your attention every single minute. Look at all the social media apps you got on your phone right now. Number one, if you are already out there, the time to begin marketing yourself and your future stuff is 3 years before you even begin selling it. Nobody wants to hear from you only when you have something to sell or promote. And if you're only doing it because you have a product or something to promote on the horizon, people can sniff that out too. Build a relationship with whomever you're eventually selling to by giving them value in exchange for their attention. That is the agreement these days. It may change in the future, but you got to keep paying attention. If you're new in the game, the second best time, if you can't go back 3 years from today, second best time is to start right now. Give value. That is the key phrase. Number two, be better than your price. Mediocrity does not sell anymore, people. It used to be a time mediocrity could sell because people didn't have any other choice. These days, we got too much choice. So we never, ever, ever had to sell for mediocrity anymore. We have too many options, both free and paid, to ever settle for mediocre shit. Whatever you offer needs to be worth more than what people pay to have it. Yes, even the free stuff needs to be worth more than the attention and time people had to pay to get it. That's your trade-off for free, is that as a consumer, rather, your trade-off for free is that you're giving up your privacy, your name, your phone number, where you live, your friends, what you talk about, the pictures you like, the pages you scroll. Those Apple, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they know everything that you're doing. All right. And those companies are worth billions of dollars and they don't even charge you money to use them. How do you think that's possible? But the companies that are charging you money, they're not worth what these companies who are giving you quote unquote free stuff. They're not charging you anything because the privacy is worth that much. And we're going to see there's a time coming where it's all going to come to a head when it comes to that attention that people are giving and the privacy that you're giving up in exchange for quote unquote free. And those are really big quotes. when I say quote unquote free. Anyway, that's a different subject. Point number 3. Don't disappear as soon as the transaction is done. It leaves a bad aftertaste with your consumers. It makes it seem like you never cared about them in the first place. You only cared about yourself. And the thing is, there used to be a time you could get away with that. That time is over. Once burned, twice shy. You may want to deal with these people again in the future, and they'll remember that prior exchange. If you're really about giving value, you just give value. All right, it doesn't matter what you have on the horizon. If you got something to sell, you just give value even if you don't have nothing to sell. You're not just giving value because you have something to gain. Anyway, you're not going to sell only one product your whole life, right? I mean, you're going to have something to sell again in the future, so you might as well keep that relationship strong. Keep the relationships solid by continuing to give, letting your audience tell you what they want from you. And if you're listening, they will tell you. You just got to be paying attention. And in the game group, the business section, we go over this in detail. Strategies, all of that, everything that you need. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Nobody out there needs more information. What you need these days is a strategy, frameworks, processes, how to actually take all the information that's out there, all the knowledge and content that's out there, make sense of it, and actually produce a result, a tangible result. That's why I created the Game Group. It is my membership site where you will get tangible results for specific areas: business, personal development, basketball skill, and professional basketball. Choose your area of focus, and we have targeted, specified outcomes every single month, along with live trainings, the ability to contact me, have your work critiqued by me, and a whole lot of other stuff. The link and all the information is down in the description at DreAllDay.com/membership. Get in the Game Group if you're ready to get some results and not just a whole bunch of information. Let's do it. Work on your game.